Hey, how are you? Happy Sunday. Can you believe we are, I think, 17 days out from the Now Honor and Power of Pink, October 3rd through the 5th in the Brendan Theater at the Palms in Las Vegas. Super excited about this new venue, bigger venue. The screen is 8 feet wider, and the stuff that we're about to do and the women we're about to honor, just insanity. Go to nowhonors.com. If you do not have tickets, there may be 1.5 of them back there. Go get a ticket and come and hang out with us because we're going to have a blast. So today we got somebody coming on that I consider one of my brothers. I've known him now for, I think, 3 years. You know, he's got not a green thumb, but like 2 green hands all the way up to the elbow kind of a thing. And I got to talk to him because a funny thing happens when you get really busy and you don't water your houseplants for like a week and a half, they kind of lay down. And I'm hoping they're going to stand back up. But I get to ask the expert today. Albert Robb's in the house. What's happening, Rob?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here, and it's a pleasure, and I'm here.
Okay, so I need your green Dr. Thumb because I literally did not water my plants for a week and a half. Totally forgot about the little guys. And they are totally like this.
I'm leaning over.
They're leaning over.
Sometimes you can revive it, but you can try.
Oh my goodness. Sometimes you can revive it. I didn't want to hear that, man. I wanted you to say, all you got to do is put one of these there and, you know.
Are they inside or outside?
Salt or something? It's inside.
It's inside. Oh, that's one of the things, because being inside, outside you don't need to water it that much, but inside
it's the desert. I brought them in because it's 100 degrees out.
Oh, they'd be fine. But the thing is with the AC pulls the moisture.
Well, we're just gonna, send up a prayer to the plant gods and hope they'll be okay. How did you get into gardening? Because you are the garden master. How did you get into this?
Well, I grew up in gardening. My parents were farmers. I grew up seeing it. Never liked it though, but I grew up seeing them planting stuff, and I grew up on a farm. We had cows, goats, and
wow.
My parents, we plant a lot of different things. My mom, she travels, she gets seeds, she come back, she plant it, and a lot of people say it's not gonna grow, and she say, okay, let's see. So I grew up seeing that, but I never liked it at that point. But a few years ago, probably about 15 years ago, it came back to me to where I start doing it. So.
It came back to you in a big way. A big way. I'm going to ask you because I don't have any photos, but if you will in the comment, like on Facebook or something, if you'll drop a couple of pictures so they can see what I'm talking about, because I don't have it queued up on this computer. Oh, yeah. Your garden is something that I have never seen before. My mother's version of a garden was 3 tomato plants. Go outside and get the tomatoes. That was it. I know people that plant a couple of things here and there, and I've got friends that are true gardeners, not like yourself. Nobody I know is like you, but that have, peppers and zucchini and all this stuff growing. And I think it's amazing. But you go from, to me, it's like a miracle, right? Because you go from these little seeds in a pack.
Yes.
Or in your case, you bring them from wherever. And you get these little magic seeds, right? And then you decide, I'm going to plant this and it's going to grow. How do you know when to plant it, what to plant, and what you can put next to each other? Because there's something about you can't put certain plants next to each other. How do you know all that?
Well, I learn from mistakes. And the thing that I try to do, I try to mimic nature as much as I can. And I always tell people, if you go in the forest, you see a lot of things growing, and there's nobody there organizing them. They just grow based on nature. So I try to do that in my garden, where I get a seed, I throw it on the ground, and it grows, and then I see what happens. So I try to mimic nature as much as I can. There's no real plan for me when it comes to planting. I just let it go.
and your right hand, your better half is over there talking about the man of seeds. She knows she's out there in that garden with you as well. But now you're not just farming and planting and growing all this amazing fruits and vegetables and everything for just you. You're feeding massive communities in Florida, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I grow stuff because I can't eat it all, because the trees produce, the plant produce, and I can't consume it all. So I just give it away. And it's a pleasure for me to give it away. And the more I give it away, the more it comes. So it's a pleasure just to harvest it,
And
and
being based in Florida, do you have seasons or can you plant all year long?
no, there's certain things that the temperature, like, because it get cold here sometimes. So whenever it goes below 30 degrees, there's certain plants that don't like that, so they'll die down. Most of them will come back and they'll adapt. And one thing I've learned over the years, plants will adapt to if you give them time, they will adapt to the environment. But it takes time, and you have to nurture it within those times so it could adapt.
See, you keep saying that. And in my mind, planting is science. I mean, you got to study it and know, what's in the soil and how many percentages of this and that and the third, which is why I don't want to do it because that sounds like a job. But you're saying that it'll adapt. So is it a mixture?
Yeah, it is. It is a mixture of
Okay.
science and nature. But the thing is, we bring the science into it. Nature don't care about the scientific part of it. We the one who does that. So nature just adapt to whatever the environment is, and we changes the environment that creates other problems. So if we just let things grow, they will grow, and it'll be a forest that you can't even walk through, and all the plants will grow. The ones who can't survive will die, but the ones who will survive.
So how do because you could plant anything and knowing you could grow anything, right? So how do you know? I mean, are you just researching YouTube videos or something? Know when it's the right season for certain things to be planted? Are you just doing testers and going, okay, that didn't work in fall, I'm going to have to wait to spring? Or do you have like a laundry list of things that you've written down over the years
I
and know how
try
to do that?
I try not to, because my thing is to make people understand that it's simple. You want to grow something, plant it and see what happens. Don't complicate it, because it's not that complicated. You plant a seed and it grows. But the thing is, yeah, there are certain things that comes, that have a certain period where they produce and when they die. Those things you learn, but on a small scale, whatever you like, because like some people like tomatoes, just plant
Right.
a tomato seed and see what happens and let it grow, and you learn. You learn every day.
No,
I'm
don't
still
laugh at
learning.
me, but I had my first yellow tomato like 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Didn't even know that was even a thing. You go in the grocery store, you don't see yellow tomatoes. So I'm like, well, what is that? It's a tomato. No, I've never seen a yellow tomato. It was delicious, but I had never seen that before. And of course, Camille Fabulous is out there talking about let go and let God do his work. I understand that, but you know me, I overthink. Come on, Fabulous, I overthink. So if someone is watching right now and they've always wanted to start a little garden, even if they're in an apartment and just has a balcony, can they start with something other than just tomatoes, or is that pretty much all you can grow if you just have like a little garden on your
No,
balcony?
no, there's most seasoning and that we use, like scallion, thyme. Most of those things you could grow in a little pot, in a little here. Is the big things now that you have to have a garden. But most of the seasoning that we use, most of the herbs and spices that we use, can grow in a little container. And they don't need much treatment, much care.
You
So
have a book out, correct?
yes,
What's your book of title and what's it about? Of course, it's gardening, but what
it's
is what is it truly about?
it's 9 steps to start your own garden. And it's just simple ideas to give the regular person ideas of how they could plant certain things, how they could use different things in the house or in their home to create a gardening environment. And I try to take all the science out of it. I try to make it as simple as possible to where anybody could do it, because a lot of time people try to complicate things by, oh, this won't do that, this won't go. But just try it. Just plant some seeds and see what happens. They just need water.
They just
Water and sunlight.
you had to throw that in there. I forgot. It was a week and a half. Come on. I forgot. Okay, so you say anyone can do it. Is that a young person can do it as well? I've got 3 grandsons,
Oh yeah.
5, 9, and 18. So if my 5-year-old and 9-year-old grandsons wanted to get together, not with me, but with their mom, because you don't want me doing it, I forget to water the plants in the house. Could they follow your book and be able to start their first little garden?
Sure, yes. There's simple things in there that they could follow and start their own garden. And a lot of times that people don't realize, me, I've learned that gardening is very therapeutic. It teaches you patience. It teaches you how to love nature. It teaches you how to understand the changes in our environment. And it's also, like you said, science. It teaches you science, because the plants that grows, that's where we get our oxygen from. Without those plants, we die.
Yeah, and they just outlawed grass in Vegas. Think about that. I literally just outlawed grass. You can't get grass anymore in Vegas, but because they got to control the water or whatever. It's insane. So when I sit and talk with you, and I love sitting and talking with you, you've had an amazing journey. You were born in Jamaica, correct?
Yes.
That's where your family farm was.
Yes.
So then you come to America and you're like, okay, I'm going to do my thing. And then you decide I'm going to start a new garden and just get addicted to it, hooked on it. Because every time I talk to you or look up, you're doing gardening, or you just, you got pictures or whatever of all this delicious food. And I think this man needs to teach this. He needs to have a gardening masterclass or something, because when you go in the grocery store, I'm 60 years old. When I used to go in the grocery store, there were bananas. And now there's bananas that are bananas, and then there are organic bananas. And you go and research those organic bananas and find out they're really not organic.
Oh, yeah.
They're just grown a little bit better than the other bananas, right?
Yeah.
So now everybody wants to start growing things at home. That's what it's all about. They want to learn this, and they need someone like yourself, because you and Fabulous fly and travel all over the world to help people all over the world, with your JFC for You and your organization. Are you teaching, like in Africa, are you teaching them how to garden as well?
Oh yes, I do. Everywhere I go, whenever I travel, if I get the opportunity to talk about farming or gardening, I do. I love doing it. So I'll tell them like different ideas of how things could grow. And a lot of times I talk to them and they were like, "Oh, this won't grow here and that won't grow here." I say, "Who tell you that? Did you try?" No, they just listen to somebody else and say, "Well," I said, "No, that's not true. Plants will grow so long as you have water."
Wow.
And if you give it time, it will adapt. So I
Wow.
try to spread that to them.
That's amazing. I literally, I'll help you, whatever you need. But you need to create, I truly believe, my opinion, you need to create a program for people, because they're all just figuring it out. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of times I was doing, a tomato plant. I did it twice. It died before there was one tomato. And I'm never doing it again. It was like, okay, I'm done. I'm through, because I didn't know who to talk to. And you go to the local, gardening store here, and it's some kid that's 18 years old. This is his summer class or whatever. And he doesn't know either. He's just like, this is what other people buy. They have no idea what to do. You should literally, I hope you do, think of doing like a masterclass program or doing a course or a webinar or whatever, because people want real organic food, not just, what they put on a sign at the grocery store so they can raise the price by 25 or 30% because
Oh,
it
yeah.
says organic. How do people find your book?
Oh, they could go on my website. They could go on gardenofwondersrob.com. Go on Instagram. But yeah, it's available on the website, gardenofwondersrob.com.
So what is JFC for you, and what do you do? What do you and Fabulous do with your organization?
Okay, so JFC for You is our nonprofit. It's a registered 501(c) that we had to start because we've been helping and giving food and helping people for years. And IRS said, no, you can't do that. You have to be registered. We have to be able to track the money that you spend. So we so JFC for You is our nonprofit that we help feed people in the local community, and we have students that we sponsor around the world to go to school.
That's amazing. You guys open up your homes, to international students of all ages. We honored Camille. I call her Fabulous all the time. It's hard for me to say Camille. It's like, who? But we honored Fabulous as our first ever Mother of the Year last year at the Now Honors. Not just because she's a great mom, but she's a great mom to many. And you're like the dad. Your doors are open all the time. It's like if I call your house and talk to your wife and she says that, it's just us here. I think that's happened once. And it was because the new students were coming the next day. You know? So what made you open your doors like that and let these young people come in and find their path in life?
Well, for me, it started when my daughter went to Europe on a student ambassador program. That's a program that was started by Eleanor Roosevelt years ago, and she was nominated to be in that program. And she spent 21 days traveling Europe, and she stayed with a family in France, and she came back and she said, Dad, I had a wonderful time. They take care of me. I didn't have to do anything. I wake up, my clothes is washed, and I have food. So she said we could do that. So that's where it started, basically, at that point.
Wow. And you guys are feeding people. I
Yes.
mean, you're not just going down volunteering every other Tuesday, you know, or on Thanksgiving week handing out, food and goods and all of that, which is great. But you're feeding people every day, every week, every month, not just here, but overseas as well, correct?
Yes. Yes.
How many people do you feed on an average month?
On an average month, a couple of hundred. Like
Wow.
Wednesday night, we fed 160 people.
And are you picking up food from organizations and feeding them, or are you literally making the food and pulling from your garden, or is it a combination thereof?
A combination of all those. We have restaurants and organization that donate stuff to us, and then we take it, and then if we need more, we add to it. But yeah, we get donations like that from
And
different
how do
organizations.
people help you? I mean, I know you have sponsors for certain events and things like that, but how do people just out and out help you?
Just
Do you need
go on,
sponsorship?
yeah, go on JFC for You, and donate, and if they have the time, they could come to Orlando one Saturday morning or one Wednesday night and volunteer and help us to distribute food and to see, just to share the message. And the main thing is just share the message to know that there's people that needs help, and we could help.
Is there a, how do I say this? And I'm putting you on the spot because it just popped in my head. So, don't be mad. But is there on your website, or can there be on your website, where people can do recurring sponsorship, where they can be a member of JFC for You and be
Yes,
able to pay $50 or $100 a
yes,
month on a recurring
yes.
basis? Okay.
Yes, they could
Because
go on
that
the
would be great.
website. Yeah, there's a donation. There's a donation box. They go in there, and it's all. They get a receipt. Whatever money they spend, they'll get a email receipt that they could use as a tax write off. So yes, they could go on there. They could be. We have people that donate every month, a certain amount, and my thing is, even if you don't give it to JFC for You, but find a local organization in your area and help.
Hmm.
Each one help one. Sharing is caring. So it don't have to come to me, or you could do your own. You could just walk down the street. Sometimes it's not just the food, it's just the words. You could walk down the street and say hi to your neighbor. How are you doing today? Is everything okay? Those little things help to build a community and make this world better. It's a big world, but it's very small. We're all neighbors.
I just finished Secret Knock a couple of days ago, and when it's Secret Knock San Diego, they have an organization in San Diego that puts together these bags. They're backpacks, and it has socks in it and a little bit of food, and it's a full giant backpack that's supposed to take care of somebody for like food wise for a week, and then other stuff that's in there. I think it would be awesome to be able to get those bags and get them connected with you in Florida. So I'm going to work on that and see if I can't connect them with you, because that would be really cool. I know that those bags would get into the right hands, and maybe we can even figure out how to get them into Africa or something like that, because it's a big organization in San Diego that does that, and they mainly do it for veterans. That would be amazing to do. If somebody donated $100 a month to JFC for you, what would that do? How many people could that help you feed?
Oh, that $100 a month will feed a lot, and because we not only feed, but that could send a kid to school, and
Wow.
and that we sponsor for a few months, 3-4 months, that will send a kid to school, But then it comes to the feeding, that could feed 50 people or more. Depends on what we give them, because we try to provide a good meal, not just a sandwich, but we try to give them a good meal that they could eat and be satisfied, with water. $100 could buy a couple boxes of water that we could give, because Florida get hot.
Yeah, Florida gets hot. You got that right. Florida gets hot and it's humid too. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me. You and I get to talk when we're on a cruise ship or you come to Vegas. You always support the Now and the Power of Pink. I thank you so much for doing that and being a supporter and having my back. But I'm glad we had this conversation in this format because people can see it. You don't realize that just a little bit goes a long way if it gets into the right hands that knows how to make it stretch. I know people are thinking, well, I can only do $20. Well, you had 5 people do $20. You could probably put water in hands of 50 people.
Oh, yeah. I said this all the time, and sorry to cut you off, but I said there's over 300 million people live in this country. If everybody give $1, that's $300 million.
Yeah, I mean, that's so true. It's absolutely true. And if you don't mind, I'm going to put you on the spot because my show has to start up again. I've been doing this 100-day challenge now since June 25th. So in the fall, after the Now, I'll start my show again. I would love for you to come back and give, let's do 3 or 4 tips to, not only create your own garden, but how you can water somebody else's garden. In other words, be able to pay it forward and get food in the right hands. I think that would be awesome.
Oh, yeah, it'd be my pleasure. I love it.
All right. Thank you, brother, for hanging out with me. I know this isn't something you normally do. It's usually fabulous that's out front, but you guys are a fabulous family. So I wanted to make sure that we shine the spotlight on you because you're always supporting us and you're amazing.
Thank you. This is my pleasure. I thank you. And there's a book. Can you see it? No, they won't be able to see it.
No, it's green.
Because it's green.
It's green. So we'll put it in the chat. We'll put it in the chat so they can go see the book. That's why we don't have it up, because it's green.
Yeah, 9 steps to creating your own garden.
That's awesome. Thanks for hanging out with me today.
I thank you. It's my pleasure. And any gardening tips, they could go on my website and look. There's a lot of information that's there. So
awesome. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I did. I always learn something from my brother Rob. He's so cool and so laid back. I told him before we got on, he is like the coolest dude. You expect him to have Bob Marley playing in the background. He's so laid back, but his knowledge level is up here. I don't even know the right questions to ask this man about gardening. That's how high his skill level is when it comes to gardening, when it comes to feeding people. And come on, that's where it starts. And we can't eat. We can't be here There doesn't matter how much education you have, what business you have, how much money you have. You can be poor on the street or billionaire or trillionaire. If you can't eat, you can't be here. That's the way it is. You need somebody like Rob in your corner. They're absolutely fabulous. I hope you enjoyed this episode. You know I want you to come back next time. And as always, I'm Tigo. I'll talk to you next time.